The story begins by depicting the daily life of clam fishermen along the coast. Among them are a couple named Mira and Goyo. As usual, they are busy searching for clams around the beach, relying on their catch as their livelihood. After finishing their work, Goyo decides to head home. However, they are suddenly shocked by the sight of police lines set up around the beach area. A large banner is also displayed, announcing plans for coastal reclamation. Mira and Goyo realize that this reclamation project will threaten the lives of fishermen, including their own means of living. The situation becomes even more tense when local residents, feeling that their rights are being taken away, hold a massive protest to reject the reclamation. In the front line of the protest, there is Moses, Mira's father, who courageously voices his opposition to the project. But amidst the heated protest, Moses suddenly collapses due to a stroke. The event causes panic, and Moses is quickly taken to the hospital. The doctor stated that Moses requires intensive therapy to recover his condition. This added to Mira's stress, as therapy costs are certainly not cheap. Mira felt hopeless knowing that she had to bear the great responsibility of taking care of her father. On the other hand, Goyo, her boyfriend, tried to support Mira as best as he could, expressing deep regret and apologizing for not being able to help more financially. Nevertheless, Goyo promised to always be by Mira's side to face all of these challenges together. The next day, Mira decided to visit the local regional office, hoping to directly submit her request to halt the reclamation project. There, she met a staff member named Talita. Talita asked Mira to meet with the regional head, named Douglas. However, Douglas was busy at the moment and suggested that Mira return at another time. As Mira was about to leave, feeling disappointed, the door to Douglas's office suddenly opened, and he came out. Seizing the opportunity, Mira quickly approached him and introduced herself. With enthusiasm, Mira explained the purpose of her visit and her concerns about the negative impact the reclamation project would have on her father. Her father's only livelihood came from the sea, and now he needed a large amount of money for therapy due to a disease he was suffering from. After hearing Mira's story, Douglas made an unexpected offer. He asked Mira to work in his office, explaining that they were in need of female employees. Mira, grateful and excited, accepted the offer, hoping that this step would mark the beginning of a better future for her and her family. That night, Mira met Goyo to share some good news. With great confidence, Mira told him that the beach reclamation project was unlikely to continue, as she had been working at the local regional office. Mira hoped that this news would not only bring fresh air to the coastal residents, but also serve as a solution to gather the money needed for her father's medical treatment. To celebrate the good news, Mira and Goyo decided to play futsal together that night. However, there was something different about their game. Goyo didn't score any goals into Mira's net and only played around the goal area. This was because they had agreed to maintain certain boundaries in their relationship until the time they officially married. At home, with great enthusiasm, Mira informed that she would soon begin working at the regional office. Mira reassured her father that this job would not only help alleviate the family's financial burden, but she was also determined to care for him until he fully recovered and was back to his old self. The next day, Mira was already working at the regional office. Goyo faithfully accompanied her to the office. Goyo gave Mira encouragement as she began her new job. There, Talia explained in detail the important things that would be Mira's responsibilities to help her adjust quickly to her new work environment. However, that night when Mira returned home from work, she found that her father's condition had worsened. Her father looked in pain, and Mira realized that she needed to take him to a clinic for treatment immediately. Unfortunately, Mira did not have enough money to cover the medical expenses. In her confusion and panic, she decided to ask Goyo for help. Together with Goyo, Mira hurried to Douglas's house, hoping for assistance. When they arrived, they found that Douglas was hosting a birthday party with his friends. Mira tried to avoid disrupting the atmosphere, but a small incident occurred. A guest accidentally spilled a drink on Mira's clothes, soaking them. Seeing this, Talia, who was also at the party, immediately approached Mira. With a caring attitude, Talia offered help and gave Mira a change of clothes. After Mira had changed, Douglas approached her and handed her a shell he had brought as a gesture of attention and good wishes. Afterward, Mira openly shared the difficulties she was facing, especially regarding the money needed for her father's medical treatment. However, Instead of directly responding to Mira's request, Douglas invited her to enjoy a drink together, reminding her that it was his birthday celebration that night. While enjoying their drinks, Mira once again expressed her concerns about the reclamation project that threatened the livelihoods of the coastal residents, including her family. Douglas tried to reassure Mira by telling her that he was working on solving the issue, but asked her to be patient a little longer. Without giving it much thought, seeing that Mira was drunk, Douglas suggested they play futsal as a way to have fun. Full of energy, they quickly started the futsal game. That night, Douglas managed to break through Mira's defense, and for the first time, Mira's goal was scored by Douglas's shot. After that night, Mira's attitude toward Goyo started to change. She appeared colder and less attentive to him than before. Not only that, but Douglas increasingly took advantage of Mira at work. Every time Mira voiced her concerns about the reclamation project, Douglas would always promise that he would stop it. However, the condition was that Mira had to play futsal with him more often. Mira felt trapped in this game, torn between her personal goals and the sweet promises from Douglas. On the other hand, Goyo felt disappointed and confused by Mira's change in behavior. He started to sense that something was wrong and tried to figure out what was really going on. One day, Goyo finally discovered that Mira had been having an affair with Douglas. This revelation was a painful truth for Goyo, and their relationship began to deteriorate. Arguments between them became inevitable as Goyo felt deeply betrayed. In the end, Mira witnessed an even harsher reality. She saw that the reclamation project, which had been promised to be stopped by Douglas, was still ongoing. The reclamation workers were still active on the beach area and began displacing the livelihoods of the fishermen there. At that moment, Mira felt deeply betrayed and disappointed, realizing that everything Douglas had promised was just empty talk. One day, as usual, Mira returned to work, but this time Douglas invited her to play futsal again. Mira was fed up and decided to confront him about the reclamation project. Douglas couldn't answer her questions about the truth of the reclamation project he had promised. Then Talia arrived, knowing all the lies. Talia was extremely disappointed with everything that had happened, but she felt helpless and couldn't do anything. After that incident, Mira went home and saw her father's condition worsening. This situation made Mira even more stressed, especially when she tried to contact her aunt for help, but her calls went unanswered. Mira felt more confused and cornered, not knowing how to face all the problems that kept coming her way. In her confusion, she also realized that she was pregnant, which only added to her burden. The next day, Mira decided to confront Douglas directly and demand accountability for his actions. However, Douglas responded coldly and refused to take responsibility for everything that had happened. Mira, feeling deeply hurt and betrayed, could only cry, regretting everything she had gone through. After discovering Mira's pregnancy, Douglas hired someone to get rid of Mira and her family. That night, Mira went to see Goyo, intending to apologize for everything that had happened. It turned out that Goyo already knew everything. At that moment, Goyo had seen Mira and Douglas playing futsal together. Goyo felt angry with Mira because she chose to play futsal with Douglas for the first time, not with him. He also felt that Mira had betrayed his love. In an attempt to apologize and repair their relationship, Mira invited Goyo to play futsal together, as it was something Goyo had always wanted. They both then set up a futsal game on a boat. After playing all night, exhausted, they finally fell asleep on the boat. However, when Mira woke up in the morning, she was shocked to find that Goyo was no longer by her side. Feeling confused and startled, she had no idea where Goyo had gone or what would happen with their relationship from the night before. Upon arriving home, Mira discovered that her father had been taken away by unknown individuals. She had no idea who was behind it. Mira tried to visit Douglas, but unfortunately, he wasn't there. Instead, Talia was the only one present. Seeing Mira in a hysterical state, Talia tried to calm her down and invited her to her house. Here, Talia reveals that she has secretly had feelings for Mira for a long time. Talia promises Mira that she will help her take revenge on Douglas, but only if Mira agrees to play futsal with her. Mira agrees to Talia's offer. In short, Talia brings a shell to Douglas, which, unbeknownst to him, has been mixed with a traditional potion that causes him to be removed from his position. This was all part of a plan that Mira and Talia had devised to get revenge on Douglas. After the incident, Talia replaces Douglas, and finally, the reclamation project that had harmed so many people is stopped. The film ends here. Thank you to everyone who has been listening. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.